What's good, peeps? Self-isolation day 24. Again, hopefully everyone is safe. Hopefully everyone is doing well. I've got my coffee. It's a great day out today. It's an absolutely beautiful day. Boy, make sure you do get your hour allotted time for a walk, bit of exercise. Get out, people. Get out, right? I think you need to get out of your house. It's that simple, right? There are some people that are actually not going out. Like some people are not leaving their house whatsoever. I think you're going to go crazy. I think you're going to have a mental breakdown if you don't leave your house during this quarantine period. You got to get out. You got to get out. For those of you that might want to know, I did my 5K yesterday in a time of 25:55. So not very fast. I can't lie to you, I nearly died though. It was so hard. Actually, it wasn't that difficult. I could have pushed the last K to go under 25 minutes, but there was just couldn't be asked if I'm honest with you. But the aim in 5 or 6 weeks, so when this quarantine is over, is to go under 20 minutes, and I will do it. No doubt I will do it, just because I am a machine. I am. I'm like up there. I'm like that. So I will definitely do it. All right, let's talk David Haye, Tyson Fury. Guys, let's also understand what this game or series is about. This isn't a case of an afterthought, right? This isn't looking back and saying, oh, this person would have won because let's look at what they've gone on to do after. We're not doing it like that. We're doing it as they fought each other then and us knowing what they were about then, not what they were about after, right? That's easy to do. We're talking about the then. So, for example, let's do David Haye versus Tyson Fury. That fight was supposed to happen September 2013, I think was the first one. Then February 2014 was the second one. I could be wrong, but I think those are the dates. So we are looking September 2013 backwards. That's what we're doing. We're not looking and thinking, okay, yeah, but Tyson Fury went on to beat Vladimir Klitschko, fantastic performance. Deontay Wilder, twice in my eyes, great performances. We're not doing that, right? And we're not looking at, okay, David Haye lost to Tony Bellew after, and all the injuries are, no. Just September 2013 backwards. Who would have won? Who would have won that fight? Let's look at both fighters and how we thought of them back then. So again, pre-September 2013. Let's first look at Tyson Fury. Obviously, there was no Klitschko. Obviously, there was no Deontay Wilder. There was no even Derek Chisora rematch, right? They had a fight, remember, for the British title. They had a fight again later on. He's coming off September 2000. So he's coming off the Steve Cunningham win, right? Which wasn't the greatest performance. It wasn't. It's weird because obviously we now think of Tyson Fury as this very slick boxer, right? Good mover. We didn't think of him like that back then. We didn't, right? I mean, we thought of him as a good boxer, but still we didn't think of him as a mover. Not at all, right? I mean, hands behind the back, no. I mean, yes, he used to showboat a bit in the ring, but nothing like obviously the way we think of Tyson Fury now. And let's also not forget, Steve Cunningham put him down hard, right? And even prior to Steve Cunningham putting down, I'm pretty sure he had a couple of fights we went down as well. So I don't think we thought of this guy as a second coming back then. We didn't. I thought of him as a decent heavyweight, a big heavyweight, obviously, and almost in the mold of other big heavyweights. So David Price was around then, Helenius was coming through. So I thought he would be there. I never thought he was going to be, obviously, what he went on to be. So I don't think we rated him that high back then. I mean, I think we all respected him, right? Decent heavyweight, decent hands, decent foot movement, nothing great at all, nothing. But I think we all kind of said that, okay, a few more fights, he could be there. And I think that was kind of the thought process with Tyson Fury back then. Again, we're talking pre-September 2013. So we're talking 7 years ago. 7 years ago. How old of Tyson Fury? I don't even know how old Tyson Fury is now. But I'm guessing he might, 24? Am I right in thinking Tyson Fury is about 31 now, 32? So maybe 24? Still a kid, right? Still a kid. David Haye back then, so pre-September 2013, had already started to become a bit inactive, right? One fight in 2011, I think, Was the Klitschko fight I think it was 2011. Vladimir Klitschko lost that. Lost nearly every round on one judge's scorecard, on a couple of judges' scorecards, has picked up a couple of rounds. It wasn't the worst performance, but again, the build-up was so massive, you expected better. And obviously the excuse after about his toe. So one fight in 2011, one fight in 2012, that was Derek Chisora, Upton Park, knocked out Chisora in the 5th, decent performance. I actually have watched that fight back so many times, and there's no doubt in my mind David Haye is getting tired after round 3, 4. Literally, he's on his second wind 5, but again, the power was there, the speed was there, put Chisora to sleep. He really did. And that's all he did. So one fight in 2011, one fight in 2012, and then he was coming to this one in 2013. There wasn't much talk about the injuries back then with David Haye, right? Obviously, in hindsight, we know the body was breaking down. But around that time, David Haye was actually trying to get a Vladimir Klitschko rematch and trying to get a Vitali fight, right? So he wanted the big fights. This guy was used to pay-per-view fights. Remember, he was a pay-per-view fighter in the UK. Remember the fights with the likes of Audley Harrison and Ruiz. These were all pay-per-view fights. And I think even the Chisora one was a pay-per-view fight as well. So he was used to pay-per-view money and he was looking for a big fight. He was at the time, I believe, 33 or 34. So again, still prime in terms of his age, right? It's not the David Haye that fought Tony Bellew. Still prime, still in peak physical condition. But there was a layoff, right? We had started to see a decline in the number of fights he was fighting. But I remember in the lead up to this fight, David Haye was releasing clips of sparring. He had Marius Vakin sparring, Deontay Wilder, Richard Towers, and who else did he have? He might have had Hrgovic. I know Hrgovic would have been young, but there was someone else around. Whoever cut his eye, put it that way. I can't remember who it was, but I remember him releasing these clips, and David Haye looked frightening, right? He looked explosive and fast, powerful. Remember, he wobbled Deontay Wilder. That clip went round for a few months. David Haye looked lethal in sparring and looked in fantastic shape. And at the time, David Haye was odds on to beat Tyson Fury. Odds on. Again, hindsight's wonderful, right? But back then, David Haye was clear favourite to beat Tyson Fury, just because he was the fast, athletic, punching power, everything, right? He had everything. Doesn't mean he would have won. Doesn't mean he would have won. That all said, people, who do you think would have won this fight? Who do you think? I can only go by the trouble that Steve Cunningham caused Tyson Fury. Right, again, Steve Cunningham, very small heavyweight. David Haye is actually bigger than Steve Cunningham, but Steve Cunningham, very small heavyweight, fast, explosive, powerful. David Haye is faster, David Haye is more explosive, and David Haye is certainly more powerful than Steve Cunningham back then. I think Steve Cunningham back then was about 38, 39, maybe even touching 40 back then, right? Still in fantastic shape, but could have been touching 40 back then. He caused Tyson Fury some problems. Eventually, Tyson Fury obviously weighed on him. Tyson Fury was able to absorb the punches, put all that extra weight on him, and eventually obviously got the stoppage. Could he do the same thing to David Haye? Or would David Haye have been too fast, too strong, and too powerful early, right? That's the question. Could he absorb David Haye's punch power? Could he? We know for the first, look, this fight goes two ways. For the first 5 or 6 rounds, David Haye is going to be ridiculous. It's going to be ridiculous. Maybe even a bit longer, right? If Tyson Fury is still standing, if he's still standing by round 7 or 8, then you expect that extra weight, that extra size to be a problem. But the first 6 or 7 rounds, David Haye is going to light him up. I think we sleep on how fast and explosive David Haye was. David Haye, for the first 6 or 7 rounds, would have lit Tyson Fury up. Lit him up, people. Again, try and remove David Haye versus Tony Bellew from your mind and think of David Haye 2013. Lit him up. Was stupidly fast, stupidly powerful, and the way he used to go in and out, nah. Lit him up, right? Lit him up. Especially, think about it. We think of Tyson Fury as a good mover. David Haye, I mean, if you're talking moving and speed and agility, levels, right? Levels above him. But I do believe that if David Haye doesn't put that giant to sleep early, then it's going to get difficult, right? Difficult down the stretch. Very difficult. But I'm going David Haye KO. I think David Haye would have knocked him out. I really do. Again, it's difficult because obviously we're thinking of what Tyson Fury's done. We're thinking of Tyson Fury's ability to get up from Deontay Wilder's punches. We're thinking of all these things. I'm thinking of Tyson Fury 2013, and I'm thinking of Steve Cunningham putting on his ass hard. And I'm thinking if Steve Cunningham can do that, very similar to David Haye, but David Haye better, I think, in every aspect back then I think David Haye's putting him to sleep. I really do. What do you guys think? Anyway, it's a tough one. Just because we're all going to think of afterthoughts. Just think of 2013. I keep saying it because that's the aim of this series and game. We're not thinking of after, we're thinking of then. And I think David Haye would have lit him up. Would have lit him up. Plus, remember David Haye, we talk about injuries. David Haye didn't pull out of the first Tyson Fury fight because of anything, like his body wasn't injured. He just got a cut. He got a cut in sparring, and that's why, right? We didn't know about the bicep and the shoulder and Achilles. It was just because of a cut. That was why. David Haye looked as fit as he's ever been. Make your mind up, people. Let me know. Peace. Guys, sorry, it's me again. I'm back. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also, please like and share the videos. It really does help the channel a lot. And if you want to support the channel, I do have a Patreon account. The link is in the description. All right, I'm done. Peace.